Listening practice, based on the outline provided for Chapter 1, What is IELTS? Here's a breakdown of the key information points and how they might be expanded. Chapter 1, What is IELTS? 1. Purpose, study, work, migration study, the primary gateway for non-native English speakers seeking admission to universities, colleges, and training programs in English-speaking countries, UK, Australia, Canada, USA, NZ, etc., and many non-English speaking countries where courses are taught in English. Work, required by professional bodies, registration organizations, and employers in English-speaking countries to prove language proficiency for specific jobs, e.g., healthcare, engineering, or skilled migration visas. Migration, a mandatory requirement for many visa categories, like points-based systems in Australia, Canada, NZ, UK, to demonstrate the language ability needed to integrate into society and the workplace. 2. Global recognition, universities, employers, governments. Universities, over 11,000 institutions globally accept IELTS scores as proof of English proficiency for admission. This includes Ivy League schools, Russell Group universities, Group of 8, etc. Employers, thousands of companies, multinational corporations, and professional organizations recognize IELTS for recruitment, especially in sectors like healthcare, finance, engineering, and aviation. Governments, used by immigration authorities worldwide, e.g., UK visas and immigration, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, Australian Department of Home Affairs, New Zealand Immigration, as part of visa applications for work, study, and permanent residency. Crucially, specific score requirements vary significantly depending on the institution, employer, or visa type. 3. Test format overview, paper-based versus computer-delivered, core components. Both formats test the same skills, listening, reading, writing, speaking, and have the same content, timing, question types, and scoring. Listening, reading, writing, paper-based. Test takers write answers on a paper booklet for listening and reading, and write essays/letters by hand. Results typically take 13 calendar days. Computer-delivered, test takers type answers for listening and reading, and type essays/letters. Results are usually available in 3 to 5 calendar days. Offers features like word count, timer, highlighting, and easier text navigation. Speaking, conducted face-to-face with a certified IELTS examiner in both formats. It's a structured interview recorded for quality assurance. Usually happens on the same day as the other sections, computer-delivered, or up to 7 days before/after, paper-based. Key considerations to add/expand, academic versus general training. Briefly mention this fundamental split here, details in next chapter. Academic is for university entry/professional registration, general training is for migration below degree level/work experience/other training. Scoring, band system. Introduce the 0 to 9 band scale used for each section and the overall band score, average. Test duration, total test time is approximate 2 hours 45 minutes for listening, reading, writing, done consecutively. Speaking is 11 to 14 minutes separately. Test providers, IELTS is jointly owned by the British Council, IDP, IELTS Australia, and Cambridge Assessment English. This Chapter 1 effectively establishes the who, why, and where of IELTS. The next chapters would logically cover, Chapter 2, detailed breakdown of the test format, sections, timing, tasks. Chapter 3, understanding IELTS scoring, bands, descriptors. Chapter 4, academic versus general training explained. Chapter 5, how to register, costs, test day procedures. Based on your outline for Chapter 2, IELTS test types, here's a detailed breakdown covering academic, general training, and their key differences. Chapter 2, IELTS test types. The IELTS exam comes in 2 distinct versions, designed for different purposes. Choosing the right one is crucial. 1. Academic IELTS primary purpose, University admissions, essential for entry into undergraduate or postgraduate degree programs at universities and colleges where English is the medium of instruction. Required by institutions globally. Professional registration, mandatory for joining professional bodies or associations in English-speaking countries, e.g., doctors, nurses, engineers, teachers. Demonstrates the high-level English proficiency needed for complex academic study and professional practice. Target audience, students applying for higher education and professionals seeking registration in fields requiring advanced academic English. 2. General Training IELTS primary purpose, immigration, required for various visa categories, particularly for countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the UK, under their points-based migration systems. Demonstrates the English proficiency needed for everyday life and work in an English-speaking environment. Work experience, used for applying for jobs, especially non-degree level roles, vocational training programs, or secondary education placements in an English-speaking country. Employers may require it to confirm practical English skills. Target audience, individuals migrating to an English-speaking country, applying for secondary education, undertaking work experience or training programs, or entering non-academic professions. 3 key differences in reading and writing sections. The listening and speaking sections are identical for both academic and general training IELTS. The differences lie solely in the reading and writing sections. Reading section differences, feature academic IELTS reading, general training IELTS reading -- text sources, authentic texts from books, journals, magazines, newspapers, academic style. Focuses on descriptive, factual, analytical, discursive content. Extracts from newspapers, advertisements, company handbooks, official documents, notices, timetables. Focuses on everyday, work-related, social survival contexts. Text type longer, more complex texts suitable for an academic audience. Shorter, more practical texts encountered daily. Text difficulty generally more complex vocabulary and sentence structures. Vocabulary and structures are less complex but reflect functional language use. Task focus tests comprehension of complex arguments, detailed information, writer's opinions, inferences. Tests comprehension of main points, gist, detail in practical contexts, writer's purpose and attitude in everyday situations. Writing section differences, feature academic IELTS writing, general training IELTS writing -- task 1 describe visual information, write a report, MIN 150 words, describing, summarizing, or explaining data presented in a graph, table, chart, diagram, or map, process. Focuses on objective, analytical description. Write a letter, MIN 150 words, based on a given everyday situation, e.g., request information, complain, apply for a job, explain a problem. Focuses on personal, semi-formal, or formal correspondence. Tests ability to communicate needs, opinions, information effectively. Task 2 essay, write an essay, MIN 250 words, in response to a point of view, argument, or problem. Requires presenting a solution, justifying an opinion, evaluating evidence, or challenging ideas. Style is formal/academic. Essay, write an essay, MIN 250 words, in response to a point of view, argument, or problem. Topics are generally of broader interest and relevance to general experience, e.g., education, family, society, environment, work. Style can be slightly less formal than academic but still structured and clear. Key considerations to add/emphasize, same scoring scale, both tests use the same 0 to 9 band scale. A Band 7 in academic IELTS represents the same level of proficiency as a Band 7 in general training IELTS. The difficulty level is calibrated to be equivalent, the content is simply context-specific. Speaking and listening, identical format, content, timing, and scoring for both test types. Test fee, usually the same price for both academic and general training. Choosing the right test, test takers must confirm with the receiving organization, university, employer, immigration authority, which test type, academic or general training, they require. Submitting the wrong type can invalidate the application. Why this chapter matters: this chapter clarifies the fundamental choice test takers face. Understanding the distinct purposes and the specific differences in reading and writing ensures candidates prepare effectively for the correct test format aligned with their goals, studying medicine versus applying for a skilled worker visa, for example. The next chapter would logically delve into the detailed format and timing of each test section: listening, reading, writing, speaking. Based on your outline, here's a comprehensive breakdown for Chapter 3, Scoring and Results, covering the band system, calculation, TRF, and validity. Chapter 3, IELTS Scoring and Results. Understanding how IELTS is scored and what your results mean is crucial for setting goals and interpreting your performance. 1. Band descriptors. 09 What each band means. IELTS uses a unique 9-band scale to report scores for each section: listening, reading, writing, speaking, and an overall band score. Each whole band, e.g., 5.0, 6.0, 7.0, and half band, e.g., 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, represents a specific level of English proficiency. General meaning of bands: Band 9, expert user, full operational command. Fluent, accurate, and understands nuance. Band 8, very good user, fully operational command with occasional unsystematic errors. Handles complex detailed argumentation well. Band 7, good user, operational command, though with occasional inaccuracies. Generally handles complex language well and understands detailed reasoning. Band 6, competent user, generally effective command despite some inaccuracies. Can understand fairly complex language, particularly in familiar situations. Band 5, modest user, partial command, copes with overall meaning in most situations, though likely to make many mistakes. Handles basic communication in own field. Band 4, limited user, basic competence limited to familiar situations. Frequent problems in understanding and expression. Cannot use complex language. Band 3, extremely limited user, conveys and understands only general meaning in very familiar situations. Frequent breakdowns in communication. Band 2, intermittent user, great difficulty understanding spoken and written English. Band 1, non-user, essentially no ability to use the language beyond possibly a few isolated words. Band 0, did not attempt the test, no accessible information provided. Section-specific descriptors. Detailed public descriptors exist for writing and speaking, outlining what is expected at each band level for criteria like task achievement/response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy, writing, or fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation, speaking. Listening and reading are scored objectively based on correct answers. 2. Calculating overall band score. Your overall band score is the average of your 4 individual section scores: listening, reading, writing, speaking. How it's calculated: 1. Add the scores of all 4 sections together. 2. Divide the total by 4. 3. Rounding rule: the overall band score is rounded to the nearest whole or half band. If the average ends in 0.25, it rounds up to the next half band, e.g., 6.25 becomes 6.5. If the average ends in 0.75, it rounds up to the next whole band, e.g., 6.75 becomes 7.0. If the average ends in 0.125 or 0.625, it rounds down, e.g., 6.125 becomes 6.0, 6.625 becomes 6.5. Example: listening, 6.5 reading, 7.0 writing, 6.0 speaking, 7.5 total, 6.5 plus 7.0 plus 6.0 plus 7.5 equals 27.0 average, 27.0/4 equals 6.75 overall band score, 6.75 rounds up to 7.03. TRF, Test Report Form. Explain. The TRF is your official IELTS results document. You will receive only one copy. Key information on the TRF: candidate name, photograph, date of birth, candidate number and TRF number, unique identifiers, test date and test center details, test type, academic or general training, individual section scores, listening, reading, writing, speaking, each reported as a band score, e.g., 7.5, 6.0, etc. Overall band score, e.g., 7.0, security features. TRFs have multiple security features, watermarks, holograms, unique numbering, to prevent forgery. Sending TRFs. You can request your test center to send TRFs directly to up to 5 institutions, universities, employers, embassies, for free. Additional copies or sending after results may incur a fee. Photocopies are not accepted by official institutions. They require the original TRF or a copy sent directly from the test center for validity period, 2 years. IELTS scores are generally considered valid for 2 years from the test date. Why? Language proficiency can change significantly over time. You might improve with use or decline without practice. Institutional policy. While the standard validity is 2 years, always check the specific requirements of the institution or organization you are applying to. Some may accept slightly older scores under specific circumstances, but this is rare. Immigration authorities are typically strict about the 2-year rule. Retaking the test. If your scores expire, you will need to retake the IELTS exam to obtain a valid result for your application. Key considerations to add/emphasize: no pass/fail. IELTS is not a pass/fail test. Organizations set their own minimum band score requirements. Section requirements matter. Some universities or visas require minimum scores in specific sections, e.g., no less than 6.5 in writing, as well as an overall score. Check these carefully. Results timeline. Reiterate the difference between computer-delivered, 3 to 5 days, and paper-based, 13 days, result timing from Chapter 1. Previewing results. Some test centers offer an online preview of results a few days before the TRF is issued. Check your test center's policy. Why this chapter matters. This chapter demystifies the IELTS scoring system, allowing test takers to understand their strengths and weaknesses, set realistic target scores based on institutional requirements, and correctly interpret and use their test report form, TRF, within its validity period. The next chapter would logically cover test format and timing in detail for each section. Here's a detailed breakdown of Chapter 4, listening test structure based on your outline, covering sections, progression, question types, and key challenges. Chapter 4, listening test structure, 30 minutes. The IELTS listening test assesses your ability to understand spoken English in various contexts. It's the same for both academic and general training modules. 4 sections, progressive difficulty and context, total recordings, 4 pre-recorded monologues/conversations. Total questions, 40 questions. Played once only, each recording is played once. Focus is critical. Progressive difficulty, the test generally increases in complexity. Context progression, social needs, academic context. Section 1, social and transactional needs, everyday life, format, a conversation between 2 speakers. Context, booking services, hotel, tour, rental, joining a club, arranging an event, obtaining information, e.g., opening hours. Focus, listening for specific factual information, names, numbers, dates, places, simple requirements. Section 2, social and contextual needs, monologue. Focus, format, a monologue or one primary speaker, sometimes with brief audience interaction. Context, information talks, campus tour, facility description, library, gym, event briefing, conference, festival, safety instructions. Focus, understanding descriptions, explanations, directions, main ideas, and specific details. May include visual prompts, maps, diagrams. Section 3, Educational/Training Context, Discussion, Format, a conversation between up to 4 speakers, usually 2 to 4, in an academic or training setting. Context, university students, e.g., discussing an assignment, project, presentation, or trainees, e.g., discussing a course module, workshop. Focus, following discussions, opinions, attitudes, agreements/disagreements, problem solving, and complex factual details. Vocabulary becomes more academic/specialized. Section 4, Academic Context, Lecture/Monologue, Format, an academic lecture or talk by one speaker. Context, a university-style lecture on a general academic topic, e.g., history, environment, business, psychology, animal behavior. Focus, understanding the main ideas, supporting arguments, specific information, technical vocabulary, and the overall structure of an academic presentation. Most challenging section. 2 key question types, examples and focus. Test takers must be familiar with various question formats. Instructions specify the word limit, e.g., no more than 3 words and / or a number. Multiple choice, MCQ. What? Choose the correct answer, A, B, C, or answers, select 2 from AE. Focus, main ideas, specific details, speaker opinion, inference. Distractors are common. Challenge, similar sounding options, paraphrasing of the recording in the question/options. Matching, what? Connect items from one list to another, e.g., match researchers to theories, features to places, dates to events. Focus, understanding relationships, categories, or sequences described. Following a conversation with multiple speakers/points. Challenge, information is often spread out, options may be paraphrased. Plan/map/diagram labeling, what? Label parts of a visual, building plan, map, machine diagram, process flow chart, based on the description. Focus, following spatial descriptions, directions, and technical explanations. Understanding prepositions of place, next to, opposite, north of, entrance. Challenge, requires quickly linking the spoken description to the visual, directional vocabulary is key. Form/note/table/flowchart/summary completion, what? Fill gaps in outlines, forms, notes, tables, flowcharts, or summaries using words from the recording. Focus, listening for specific, often factual information, names, numbers, dates, terms, within a structured context. Predicting the type of word needed, noun, verb, number, etc. Challenge, keeping pace, spelling correctly, adhering to word limits, recognizing paraphrasing/synonyms. Other common types, sentence completion, fill gaps in sentences, similar to form completion but in full sentences. Short answer questions, answer questions with short phrases/words from the recording. Key considerations and tips, time management, you have 30 minutes to listen and answer 40 questions. You get 10 minutes at the end, paper-based, or 2 minutes, computer-delivered, to transfer your answers. Use the time wisely. Preview is crucial, use the time before each section starts to read the questions carefully. Underline keywords and predict answers/types of information needed. Focus during play, listen for answers and overall meaning. Don't get stuck on one missed question, move on. Accents, Expect a variety of native speaker accents, e.g., British, Australian, New Zealand, American, Canadian. Spelling and grammar, incorrect spelling or grammar, e.g., singular versus plural, means the answer is wrong. Word limits, strictly follow instructions, e.g., one word only. Hyphenated words count as one word. Synonyms and paraphrasing, the words in the recording won't always match the question exactly. Listen for synonyms and paraphrased ideas. Strategic note-taking, jot down keywords/numbers if it helps, but prioritize listening and answering directly on the question paper/screen. Why this chapter matters: understanding the structure, context, progression, and diverse question types of the listening test is the first step to developing effective listening strategies. The next chapter, Chapter 5, should focus on listening strategies and practice techniques to tackle these specific challenges. Here's a focused and practical breakdown for Chapter 5, Listening Strategies for Success, Addressing Prediction, Accents, and Avoiding Traps. Chapter 5, Listening Strategies for Success. Mastering IELTS listening requires specific techniques beyond just understanding English. Here are key strategies. 1. Predicting content and keywords, your secret weapon. Why predict? Actively engaging your brain before listening primes you to catch relevant information and filter out noise. How to predict: use section context, leverage the known context of each section, e.g., Sector 1, booking equals names, dates, numbers, requirements. Sector 4, lecture equals topic-specific terms, definitions, theories. Analyze questions. During the reading time before each part, identify question type. What exactly do you need to do? Choose. Match. Label. Complete. Underline keywords. Focus on nouns, verbs, names, places, dates, and question words: who, what, when, where, why, how. Predict answer type: is it a name, number, place, noun phrase, verb, adjective. Predict content, based on keywords and the section context. What is the conversation/talk likely about? What vocabulary might you hear? Example: seeing questions about labeling a map near a car park, entrance, and footpath predicts you'll hear directions and spatial descriptions. 2. Handling accents, British, Australian, Canadian, American. Why it matters: IELTS uses a variety of native speaker accents to reflect real-world English use. How to adapt: active exposure, listen daily to authentic materials featuring different accents, podcasts, news, BBC, ABC, CBC, NPR, documentaries, academic talks. TV/film, watch shows/films from different English-speaking countries without subtitles, then with English subtitles to check understanding. IELTS practice materials, use official tests and resources specifically featuring varied accents. Focus on core features, pay attention to common variations, vowel sounds, e.g., dance in AUS/NZ versus UK/US, path in UK versus US, about in Canada. Rhythm and intonation, British English often has more varied intonation, American English can be more syllable timed. Specific words, e.g., truck, US, versus lorry, UK, flat, UK, versus apartment, US. Don't panic, focus on context and keywords. Even if an accent is unfamiliar initially, your prediction skills and focus on core information will help. The accents used are always clear and standard *, not strong regional dialects. 3. Avoiding traps, distractors and paraphrasing. Why they exist: IELTS deliberately includes tricks to test true comprehension, not just hearing keywords. Common trap types and how to beat them. Distractors: what, information that seems correct but is later changed or contradicted. Example: Speaker 1, let's meet on Thursday. Speaker 2, Thursday. Oh, I have a seminar. How about Friday? Defense, listen for final decisions, corrections, or words like actually, sorry, no, but, however, changed my mind. Don't jump on the first answer you hear. Paraphrasing and synonyms, what, the question/options use different words than the speaker. Example, question, the tour is recommended for, /recording, it's ideal for families with young children. Defense, predict synonyms during your preview. Think conceptually, not just about matching exact words. Focus on the meaning of keywords. Similar sounding options/information, what, options sound alike or specific details are close but incorrect, e.g., 13 versus 30, Park Street versus Park Road. Defense, pay close attention to numbers, letters, and specific names/places. Double-check spelling during transfer time. Be wary of options differing by only one word. Implied meaning versus direct statement **** what, the answer isn't stated directly, you need to infer it from tone, context, or implication. Defense, pay attention to speaker intonation, sarcasm, hesitation, enthusiasm, and connecting words, so, therefore, that means. More common in sections 3 and 4. General anti-trap strategy ***, stay focused throughout the entire conversation/talk. Answers often come in sequence, but distractors mean you can't relax after hearing a potential keyword. Essential practice techniques, simulate test conditions, practice with official materials under timed conditions, no pauses. Analyze mistakes, don't just check answers. Why did you get it wrong? Was it a distractor? Paraphrasing. Accent. Spelling. Prediction failure. Target your weaknesses. Focused listening, practice listening only for specific information, e.g., all numbers, all place names, or for the gist/main idea. Transcript review, after a practice test, listen again while reading the transcript. Highlight traps, paraphrases, and keywords you missed. Expand vocabulary, note down synonyms and topic-specific vocabulary encountered in practice tests. Mastering these strategies transforms passive listening into active comprehension, significantly boosting your IELTS listening score. Next, focus on reading strategies. Here are focused practice scenarios demonstrating IELTS listening strategies, aligned with Chapter 5 techniques, Chapter 6, listening practice scenarios applying prediction, handling accents, and avoiding traps. Scenario 1, Section 1, booking a hotel context, a traveler calls Meadowview Hotel to reserve a room. Audio script snippet, receptionist, Meadowview Hotel, how can I help? Traveler, hi, I'd like a double room for 3 nights starting June 12th. Wait, actually, make it the 13th, I've mixed up my dates. Last name's Underwood, UNDERWOOD, breakfast is included, right? Receptionist, only for stays of 4 nights or more, but you can add it for £10 per day. Questions and traps, 1 check-in date, June 12th June 13th, distractor, correction, 2. Surname spelling, ________________, answer, Underwood, 3. Breakfast cost if added, £, answer, 10. Paraphrased, added for £10 per day, strategy application, prediction, dates, names, and prices are likely targets. Distractor handling, note correction phrases, actually, wait. Spelling focus, names must be exact, capitalization not needed. Scenario 2, Section 3, University discussion on coral reefs context, students, Australian and Canadian accents, discuss a biology project with their professor. Audio script snippet, Dr. Evans, Australian coral bleaching occurs when corals expel symbiotic algae called zooxanthellae. Kenji, Canadian, so if water temperatures drop, they recover. Dr. Evans, actually, recovery is possible only if stressors are temporary. Permanent damage happens at 28 degrees Celsius or above. Fatima, but in Smith's 2023 study, some corals survived at 30 degrees C. Questions and traps. 1 Cause of bleaching, loss of Answer, zooxanthellae. 2. Critical temperature for permanent damage, 28 degrees C 30 degrees Celsius, distractor, later correction with research evidence. 3. Recovery possibility, requires stressors. Answer, temporary. Strategy application, accent adaptation, notice Australian vowel shifts, algae/algae/. Paraphrasing, expel symbiotic algae equals loss of zooxanthellae. Distractor, initial temperature, 28 degrees Celsius, is overwritten by new research, 30 degrees Celsius. Key takeaways for practice 1. Section 1, Social Needs, expect corrections, numbers, and spellings. Trap, initial information often changes, date/prices. 2. Section 3, Academic Discussion, focus on expert terminology and research critiques. Trap, early statements may be challenged by later evidence. 3. Universal tips, predict answer types, date/name/temperature, before listening. Flag distractors with pencil/marker during audio. Review transcripts post-practice to identify traps missed. Trainer's note, asterisk in section 3, disagreements between speakers often hold key answers. Train students to listen for contrast words, but, actually, however. Asterisk next step, try these with timed practice tests, applying Chapter 5 strategies. Why this works for IELTS, realistic distractors, corrections, synonyms, expel equals loss, and academic debate mimic actual test traps. Accent variation, forces adaptability, e.g., Australian//I/in algae. Active prediction, pre-reading questions primes the brain for target keywords. Let me know if you'd like the full audio scripts or more scenarios. Here's a comprehensive breakdown of Chapter 7, Academic Reading, covering text types, key question formats, strategies, and realistic examples. Chapter 7, Academic Reading, 60 minutes, focus, analytical comprehension of complex academic texts. 1. Text characteristics. 3 long texts, 700 to 900 words each, sourced from academic journals, research papers, scholarly books, or reputable magazines, e.g., Nature, The Economist. Topics: science, technology, history, sociology, economics, psychology. No specialist knowledge required. Style: dense, argumentative, data-rich, with advanced vocabulary and complex syntax. Progression: Text 1, least complex. Text 3, most challenging, abstract concepts, nuanced arguments. 2. Key question types and strategies, total, 40 questions, 13 to 14 per text. Question type: purpose, strategy, example, trap, true/false/not given, test, factual accuracy and inference. T, matches text explicitly. BRF, contradicts text. BRNG, info not present or unclear. Claim, the study proved climate change causes hurricanes. BR text, the study suggests a link between warming oceans and storm intensity. F, overstatement, summary, completion, gist, understanding and vocabulary. 1. Identify summary's location, whole/text part. BR2. Predict missing word type, noun/verb. BR3. Scan synonyms in text. Summary: metals expand when ________. BR text: thermal heating induces volumetric expansion in metallic compounds. Answer: heated, synonym, thermal heating, Matching headings. Identify main ideas and structure. 1. Read headings first. BR2. Skim paragraphs for topic sentences, start/end. BR3. Reject headings with details, not main ideas. Heading, Economic Impacts of Urbanization. BR paragraph, discusses rural migration causes. Reject, focus mismatch, other common types, matching features. Link opinion/data to sources. Scan names/organizations and verbs, claims, argues, found. Dr. Lee opposes the policy. Match to criticism option. Sentence completion. Detail retrieval. Strict word limit, e.g., 1 word. Watch grammar, singular/plural. A ________ solution was proposed. Text, biodegradable alternatives. Biodegradable-3. Critical challenges and solutions. Challenge solution -- time pressure. Scan zones. 20 min/text max. Skim headings. Questions. Target complex vocabulary from context. Asterisk. Ignore unfamiliar words unless critical. Infer meaning. Paraphrasing. Result. Synonyms everywhere. E.g., utilize equals use, consequence equals distractor. Options. Contradiction not given is not equal to false, absence of evidence is not equal to -4. Practice scenario, biodiversity. Text excerpt, coral reef ecosystems exemplify marine biodiversity, yet face anthropogenic threats. Overfishing depletes keystone species, while rising sea temperatures induce bleaching events. Smith, 2022. Jones, 2023, counters that localized conservation, such as marine protected areas, MPAs, can mitigate degradation. Questions, 1 true/false/not given. Jones, 2023, attributes coral bleaching solely to overfishing. F. Jones focuses on solutions, not causes. Bleaching is linked to temperature. 2 Summary completion, ___________ zones are proposed by Jones to safeguard reefs. Protected, synonym, marine protected areas/MPAs. 3 Matching heading, threats and interventions for coral reefs. Matches, covers threats and conservation. -5. Pro Tips 1. Order matters, do matching headings first. Overview helps with other questions. Save true/false/ng for last, requires detailed text knowledge. 2 Annotate, circle names, dates, terminology. Mark paragraphs with short summaries, e.g., causes pollution. 3 Answer directly, spelling errors equals wrong answer. Copy words exactly from the text. Expert insight, academic reading tests rhetorical function, not just facts. Ask, is this a claim? Evidence. Conclusion, as you read. Next chapter, General Training Reading Differences, Chapter 8. Why these strategies work, text structure awareness, headings matching forces analysis of argument flow. Synonym training, summary completion builds paraphrasing agility. Critical reading, true/false/ng teaches precise evidence evaluation. Let me know if you'd like practice text excerpts or question sets. Here's a targeted breakdown of Chapter 8, General Training Reading, contrasting it with academic reading and focusing on practical text types and strategies. Chapter 8, General Training Reading, 60 minutes, focus, practical literacy in everyday, social, and workplace contexts. 1 Text types and sources. Text category examples. Purpose -- Section 1, Social survival notices, timetables, ads, e.g., gym membership, brochures, simple instructions, e.g., library rules. Find/use basic information quickly. Section 2, Workplace survival. Job ads, staff manuals, contracts, training guides, workplace policies, e.g., safety procedures. Understand rules, rights, duties. Section 3, General reading. Newspaper/magazine articles, opinion pieces, informational essays, e.g., remote work trends. Grasp main ideas, arguments, tone. Key difference from academic, texts are shorter, more fragmented, and visually varied, bullet points, forms, bold headings. Language is less abstract but rich in idioms, colloquialisms, and workplace jargon. 2. Question types and strategies, same formats as academic but applied to practical contexts. Question type GT specific strategy real world example true/false/not given focus on explicit details, e.g., does the ad state flexible hours? Ad, part-time shifts available. True if stated, false if ad says full-time only. Matching headings scan for topic sentences in notices/articles. Reject headings with minor details. Heading, employee benefits match to paragraph listing * health insurance, vacation days. Summary completion predict answers using context clues, e.g., a form gap after salary, #_________. Text, wage, £12.50/hour form, pay rate, $12.50 short answers copy words exactly from notices/ads, e.g., application deadline, May 31. 3. Unique GT challenges and solutions challenge solution -- information overload blocks. Skim headings/subheadings first ignore irrelevant text implied meaning collaboration skills. Job ads/notices imply requirements, e.g., team player equals workplace jargon, overtime, benefits learn common terms, * KPIs, probation period, OT short time per text minutes. Allocate time, Sector 1, 15 minutes, Sector 2, 20 minutes, Sector 3, 25-4. Practice scenarios. Scenario 1, Workplace Notice, Section 2, Text, all staff, safety helmets must be worn in construction zone. A non-compliance equals disciplinary action. Management question, what is the consequence for ignoring helmet rules? Disciplinary action, exact phrase copy. Scenario 2, Job ad, Section 2, Text, warehouse assistant, lift 20 kilograms boxes. Weekend shifts. Apply with CV to hr@logistics.com by Friday. Questions, 1. Required physical ability, lift 20 kilograms boxes. 2. Application method, email CV to hr@logistics.com. Scenario 3, newspaper article, Section 3, Text, remote work boosts productivity 22%, flex jobs, 2023, but 67% of employees report loneliness. True/false/not given, most remote workers feel isolated. True, 67% equals majority. 5. Pro tips for GT success. 1. Read like a user, / approach texts as if you need the information, e.g., should I rent this apartment? 2. Spot key details, / circle numbers, dates, names, rules, and action verbs, e.g., must, submit. 3. Beware small print, / check footnotes / asterisks in ads, e.g., terms apply. 4. Practice real documents, / study rental agreements, bus schedules, or LinkedIn job posts. By critical reminder, GT reading is not easier, it tests different skills. A nurse might ace a medical manual but struggle with a lease agreement. Next, writing section strategies, academic vs GT Task 1 differences. Why GT reading matters for migrants and workers, decoding a pay stub or understanding a contract is as vital as academic analysis. This chapter equips test takers for real-life English survival. Let me know if you'd like authentic text samples or a GT vs academic comparison table. Here's a practical, strategy-focused breakdown of Chapter 9, Speed Reading Techniques for IELTS Reading, complete with an urbanization example. Chapter 9, Speed Reading Techniques Goal, Master Efficiency to conquer 40 questions in 60 minutes. 1. Scheming for main ideas. Purpose: grasp the overall theme, structure, and tone in 1 to 2 minutes. Text. How: read title/subtitle, first/last sentences of paragraphs, headings, and bold terms. Ignore examples, dates, and statistics. Ask: what's the author's core argument? How is this section organized? Use case: answering what is the main purpose of paragraph 3. Matching headings to sections. 2. Scanning for specific details. Purpose: rapidly locate names, dates, numbers, or keywords for fact-based questions. How: let questions guide you, circle keywords in questions, e.g., 1997, Dr. Lee, carbon emissions. Run your finger down the text vertically. Stop only when you spot the keyword or its synonym, e.g., CO2 for carbon emissions. Read only 2 to 3 sentences around the keyword for context. Use case: true/false/not given, sentence completion, short answers. 3. Practice: graph-based article on urbanization. Text excerpt, link to a graph showing rural versus urban population, 2000 to 2025, urbanization accelerates globally, Fig. 1. Asia dominates this trend, with India's urban population surging from 28%, 2001, to 55%, 2030. This strains infrastructure. Mumbai's transport network, built for 7 million, now serves 20 million. Graph: year percent urban population -- 2001 28%, 2020 47%, 2030 55%. Projected: questions and techniques. 1. Scheming task. Q. What is the article's primary concern about urbanization? Skim focus. Title: Urbanization Challenges, first/last sentences. Answer: infrastructure strain. 2. Scanning task. Q. What percentage of Indians will live in cities by 2030? Scan focus. Keywords 2030 plus India. Find number, 55%. 3. Graph text synthesis. Q. Mumbai's transport system is used by _______ million people. Scan focus. Mumbai's transport text, 20 million, ignore graph, answer is in text. 4. Pro tips to avoid common pitfalls. Technique: do don't -- scheming. Read topic sentences, no transitions, however, in contrast. Read every word or examples. Scanning: use pencil to trace lines, leverage synonyms. Read full paragraphs after finding keywords. Graph/table: check units, million/percent, and labels, years/countries. Assume graph repeats text exactly. Expert insight: skim like a drone, broad view, scan like a hawk, targeted dive. For graphs, ask, what is the key takeaway? What supports the text? 5. Hybrid strategy for complex questions. Example: true/false/not given and graph data statement. India's urban population exceeded 50% before 2020. Step 1, scan for India, 2020. Step 2, check graph 2020 equals 47%, less than 50%. Step 3, answer, false, text and graph align. Why it works: combine scanning speed with 5-second graph verification. Why these techniques are essential: scheming saves 10+ minutes per test by avoiding rereading paralysis. Scanning cuts answer time for detail questions by 50%. Graph/text synergy prevents mistakes from isolated data misreading. Next chapter, vocabulary hacks for dense texts, Chapter 10. Try this now. Grab a news article. Time yourself, skim in 90 seconds, write one sentence summary, then scan to find 3 specific numbers/names. Let me know if you'd like a full practice text with graph and questions. Here's a battle-tested framework for IELTS Academic Writing Task 1, designed for clarity, efficiency, and Band 7 plus success. Chapter 10, Task 1, Academic Describing Visuals Goal, transform data/processes into a 150-word analytical report in 20 minutes. 1. Visual types and key vocabulary. Visual type focus areas. Essential vocabulary line/bar graphs. Trends, peaks, plateaus, comparisons. Surge, plummet, fluctuate, overtake, plateau. Pie charts. Proportions, dominance, shifts over time. Accounts for, comprises, a minority/share. Tables. Highest/lowest, patterns, anomaly. Significantly higher, marginally lower. Maps. Changes, past, present/future, locations converted to, demolished, adjacent to. Process diagram. Stages, inputs/outputs, sequence. Concurrently, transformed into. Subsequently. Pro tip, maps/processes need prepositions, next to, from X to Y, graphs need trend verbs, rocketed, stabilized, dot. 2. Structure, the 4-paragraph blueprint. 1. Introduction, 1 sentence. Rephrase the task. The line graph compares energy consumption from 4 sources in France between 1990 and 2020. Avoid, the graph shows, use synonyms, illustrates, depicts, presents. 2. Overview, 2 sentences. Identify 2 to 3 biggest trends without data. Overall, fossil fuels, coal and gas, dominated consumption, though coal use declined sharply. Renewables, particularly solar, saw substantial growth. Key, place before details, examiners look for this first. 3. Key features, 2 paragraphs. Group related data, e.g., fossil fuels versus renewables, data selection, report extremes, highest/lowest, crossings, turning points, comparisons, use while, whereas, compared to. Data reference, embed numbers naturally. Coal consumption halved from 80 GW to 40 GW, while solar surged tenfold, 2 GW to 20 GW. 4. No conclusion. Task 1 is report, not essay. 3. Example, energy consumption trends, line graph, graph data, 1990 to 2020, coal, 80 GW 40 GW, steady decline, gas, 40 GW 45 GW, stable, solar, 2 GW 20 GW, sharp rise, wind, 5 GW 15 GW, moderate growth, band 9. Model response, 150 words. The line graph illustrates changes in energy usage from 4 sources in France over a 30-year period, starting in 1990. Overall, while fossil fuels remain the primary energy source, coal consumption fell significantly. Conversely, renewable energy, especially solar, demonstrated remarkable growth. Initially, coal dominated at 80 GW, but it experienced a consistent downturn, having to 40 GW by 2020. Gas usage, however, remained relatively stable, rising marginally from 40 GW to 45 GW. Turning to renewables, solar power expanded tenfold, surging from just 2 GW to 20 GW. Similarly, wind energy tripled its output from 5 GW to 15 GW, though it remained less prominent than solar. 4. Analysis of techniques. Use technique example from text. Why it works. Overview. First, fossil fuels primary, coal fell, renewables grew. Shows macro understanding. Grouping data. Fossil fuels, coal/gas, versus renewables, solar/wind, creates logical flow. Data embedding. Having to 40 GW, tenfold from 2 GW to 20 GW. Avoids robotic. Was 40 GW. Lists trend. Vocabulary. Consistent downturn, surged, marginally precise. Description. 5. Avoid these band 6 traps, listing data chronologically. In 1990, coal was 80 GW. In 2000, it was 70 GW, no. Ignoring the overview, costs you band points instantly. Inaccurate data, e.g., coal dropped slightly when it have used strong/weak verbs. Repeating the same vocabulary, e.g., increase use climb, expand, escalate. Pro tip, spend 3 to 5 minutes planning, identify 1, trends for overview, 2 to 3 key feature groups. Writing takes 15 minutes maximum. Next chapter, General Training Task 1, Letters, focus on tone/formality. Why this structure wins, examiner friendly, overview upfront meets marking criteria instantly. Time efficient, 4 paragraphs equals 5 min/paragraph. Data led, embeds numbers in analysis, not isolated statements. Try this now, find a line graph online. Write an overview, 2 sentences, plus 1 key feature paragraph in 10 minutes. Focus on grouping and verbs. Need a practice graph? Let me know. Here's a targeted guide to IELTS General Training Writing Task 1, covering letter types, scenarios, and practical frameworks for Band 7 Plus Success, Chapter 11, Task 1, General Training Letter Writing, 150 words, 20 minutes. Goal, write purpose-driven letters with appropriate tone, structure, and clarity. 1 Letter types and tone type recipient tone and language opening/closing -- formal unknown officials, companies polite, impersonal, no contractions dear sir/madam. Br yours faithfully, full name semi-formal landlords, colleagues, managers respectful but conversational dear Mr. Lee/Ms. Patel. Br kind regards, full name informal friends, family casual, contractions, idioms, emotions dear Anna. Br best wishes, first name pro tip, your relationship with the recipient dictates tone. Mistaking formal for informal equals band 6. 2. Key scenarios and structures. A complaint letter, formal/semi-formal, purpose, resolve issues, faulty product, poor service. Structure, 1 Purpose, I am writing to express dissatisfaction with product/service. 2 Details, on date, I purchased item. Regrettably, problem, e.g., the heater malfunctioned. 3 Request, I request a full refund/replacement by date. 4 Closing, I trust you will address this promptly. B Application letter, formal, purpose, apply for jobs/scholarships. Structure, 1 Position reference, I wish to apply for position advertised in source on date. 2 Qualifications, with my 3 years experience in field and skill, I am well suited for this role. 3 Call to action, I have attached my CV and welcome an interview at your convenience. C Invitation letter, informal/semi-formal, purpose, invite to events. Structure, 1 Warm opening, hope you're well. I'm thrilled to invite you to my event. 2 Logistics, it's on date at time, venue. We'll have activities. 3 RSVP, could you confirm by date? Let's catch up. 3. Real examples, 150 words, formal complaint, faulty laptop, dear sir/madam, I am writing regarding order number 789, MacBook Air, delivered on July 15. Upon setup, I discovered the keyboard is unresponsive. As a freelance designer, I rely on this device for urgent projects. I request a replacement within 5 days or a full refund. Please contact me at 01234-567890. I trust you will resolve this swiftly. Yours faithfully, Acon Y Band 8, clear purpose and specific details, order number, issue. Firm but polite request. Professional closing. Semi-formal application, cafe job, dear Mr. Davies, I am applying for the barista position at the Brew Spot, posted on Indeed, July 10. As an experienced barista for 2 years at Café Luna, I excel at crafting specialty coffees and handling peak hour rushes. My attached CV details my training. I am available for an interview next week. Thank you for considering my application. Kind regards, Elena Petrova. Y Band 8, Context, where job was seen. Relevant skills and experience. Proactive call to action. Informal invitation, housewarming, Dear Priya, how's Tokyo? Tom and I just moved into our new flat. We'd love you to join our housewarming on August 20th, 7 p.m. We'll grill in the garden, bring swimwear for the pool. Let me know by the 10th so I order food. Can't wait to see you. Best wishes, Maya. Y Band 8, warm, personal tone. Clear event details and RSVP deadline. Enthusiastic closing. -4. Critical grammar and vocabulary, formal, passive voice, a refund will be processed, modals, I would appreciate. Semi-formal, polite phrases, I hope you might consider. Informal, contractions, can't, phrasal verbs, catch up. Avoid, slang, hey dude, informal letters. Overly emotional language, I'm furious. Use deeply disappointed. -5. 4-step planning process, 5 mins max. 1. Identify, recipient letter type, formal/semi/informal. 2. Purpose, why are you writing? Complaint. Request. Invite. 3. Bullet points, address all prompts in the question. 4. Structure, intro, details, action, request, closing. Band 7 plus secret, cover all bullet points equally. Missing one equals Band 6. Use 30 to 40 words per bullet. Next chapter, Task 2, Essays, Mastering Argument Structures. Why this works, audience awareness, tailored tone prevents mark loss. Clarity over creativity, direct language scores higher than complex phrasing. Time efficiency, 5-minute planning, 15-minute writing. Practice now, write a semi-formal letter to a landlord requesting kitchen repairs. Cover, 1. Problem, broken oven, 2. Impact, can't cook, 3. Urgency, fix by next week. Need feedback? Share your draft. Here's a clear breakdown of IELTS Task 2 essay structures: opinion, discussion, problem solution, the 5-minute planning strategy, and a sample essay for the given topic. Core essay structures. 1. Opinion, agree/disagree, introduction, paraphrase question, state your clear opinion, agree/disagree/partial. Body paragraph. 1. Main reason for your opinion and explanation/example. Body paragraph. 2. Another strong reason for your opinion and explanation/example, or a concession/refutation of opposing view. Conclusion, restate your opinion and summarize main reasons. 2. Discussion, discuss both views and your opinion, introduction, paraphrase question, state that both sides exist, briefly hint at your view, optional. Body paragraph. 1. Discuss viewpoint 1 in detail, reasons, examples. Body paragraph. 2. Discuss viewpoint 2 in detail, reasons, examples. Body paragraph. 3, or conclusion, clearly state your own opinion and justify it, explain why you lean that way, perhaps drawing on points from P1/P2. Conclusion, summarize the two main views and restate your own position. 3. Problem solution, causes/problems and solutions, introduction, paraphrase question, acknowledge the problem/issue. Body paragraph. 1, explain 1 to 2 key causes or problems in detail. Body paragraph. 2, propose 1 to 2 practical solutions and explain how they address the causes/problems. Conclusion, summarize the main problems and solutions, perhaps adding a final thought. Brainstorming and planning in 5 minutes. 1. Analyze the question, 1 minute. Identify the type, opinion. Discussion. problem solution, and the exact instruction, discuss both. Agree. Solutions. Underline keywords. To generate ideas, 2 minutes quickly jot down, opinion, reasons for agreeing, reasons for disagreeing. Discussion, arguments for side A, arguments for side B, your initial stance. Problem solution, key problems/causes, potential solutions, be practical. Aim for 2 to 3 strong points per side/section. 3 Plan structure, 1.5 minutes decide your structure based on step 1. Allocate your brainstormed points to specific paragraphs. Choose your strongest points. 4 Formulate thesis and topic sentences, 0.5 minutes write your main answer, thesis, for the intro. Draft the first sentence, topic sentence, for each body paragraph. What is the main point of that paragraph? Example essay, does technology isolate people? Discuss and give opinion, discussion type, question, technology has become deeply integrated into modern life. While it offers unprecedented connectivity, concerns arise about its potential to isolate individuals. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Planning, done in 5 minutes, type, discussion, discuss both views and opinion, keywords, technology, isolate, connectivity. View 1, isolate superficial online interactions, less face-to-face, passive consumption, streaming/games, phubbing. View 2, connects bridges distance, family/friends, communities of interest, global, support groups, remote work collaboration. My opinion, predominantly connects, but isolation is a choice or misuse, nuanced agree with connection. Isolation stems from how we use it, not inherently. Structure, intro, paraphrase, both views exist, tech is tool, nuance. P1, how/why it can isolate. P2, how/why it connects. P3, my opinion, connects more, isolation is behavioral. Conclusion, summarize both, restate opinion, connection outweighs, mindful use key. Essay, approximate 260 words, the pervasive influence of technology in daily life sparks debate regarding its social impact. While some argue it fosters unprecedented global connection, others contend it paradoxically leads to greater personal isolation. Both perspectives hold validity, reflecting the complex nature of technological interaction. Ultimately, I believe technology acts primarily as a connector, though its isolating potential hinges significantly on user behavior. On one hand, technology can indeed contribute to feelings of isolation. Excessive reliance on digital communication often replaces deeper, face-to-face interactions, leading to more superficial relationships. Engaging primarily through screens can diminish essential nonverbal cues and emotional intimacy. Furthermore, passive consumption of content like social media scrolling or binge-watching can become solitary activities, reducing opportunities for real-world social engagement. The phenomenon of phubbing, ignoring companions for one's phone, exemplifies how technology can disrupt immediate social bonds. Conversely, technology's power to connect people across vast distances is undeniable. Platforms like video calls and messaging apps allow families and friends separated by geography to maintain close, regular contact, fostering relationships that might otherwise fade. Moreover, the Internet facilitates connections based on shared interests, hobbies, or experiences, creating vibrant online communities and support networks that transcend physical location. Collaboration tools also enable seamless teamwork across continents, strengthening professional and social ties in ways previously impossible. In my view, while technology can enable isolation through misuse, its fundamental role is overwhelmingly connective. The sense of isolation often stems not from the technology itself, but from individual choices regarding its use, prioritizing virtual interactions over physical ones or consuming content passively. Used consciously to complement, not replace, real-world interaction, Technology is a potent force for bringing people together, bridging gaps that physical distance once made insurmountable. Therefore, although technology presents risks of social detachment if used unwisely, its capacity to forge and sustain meaningful connections across barriers is its defining characteristic. Responsible usage is key to maximizing its connective potential while mitigating isolating tendencies. Here's a breakdown of IELTS Speaking Part 1, focusing on common topics and techniques for expanding your answers effectively. Chapter 13, Speaking Part 1 Introduction and Interview, 4 to 5 minutes. Purpose: to relax you, assess your ability to communicate about familiar topics, and make a first impression on fluency and coherence. Format: the examiner introduces themselves, confirms your identity, and asks 3 to 4 sets of questions, around 10 to 12 questions total, on February 3. Familiar, everyday themes. Key: sound natural, conversational, and engaged. Show you can speak fluently without long pauses. Common topics: 1. Hometown. Where is your hometown? Is it a good place for young people/visitors? What's the most interesting part of your hometown? Has your hometown changed much? Do you think you will live there in the future? 2. Work/studies. Do you work or are you a student? What is your job? What do you study? Why did you choose that job/course? What do you like most about your job/studies? What is difficult about your job/studies? Do you plan to continue with this job/field in the future? 3. Leisure/free time/hobbies. What do you like doing in your free time? How much free time do you have? Did you have more free time when you were younger? Do you prefer relaxing or being active in your free time? Are there any hobbies you would like to try? How do people in your country usually spend their free time? Other frequent topics: home/accommodation, family/friends, weather, food, music, reading, sport, television/films, transport, daily routine. Technique: expanding answers, avoiding yes/no. This is crucial for Part 1. Short answers equals low score. You need to demonstrate your language ability immediately. Use these strategies: 1. The answer and reason and example/detail formula. This is the most reliable structure. Answer: directly respond to the question. Reason: explain why you think/feel that way. Example/detail: give a specific instance, a detail, or elaborate further. Example: hometown: I come from a coastal city called Brighton. Answer: it's particularly good for young people. Answer: because there's a vibrant art scene and lots of universities nearby. Reason: for instance, there are always music festivals, art exhibitions, and plenty of cafes and shops catering to students. Example: 2. Add comparisons or contrasts. I prefer cycling now, whereas when I was younger, I used to play football constantly. The summers are quite hot, unlike the winters which can be quite chilly. 3. Mention past, present, and future. Currently, I enjoy hiking. In the past, I wasn't very active. In the future, I'd like to try mountain climbing. When I was a child, my hometown was quieter. Now, it's much busier. Hopefully, they'll preserve some green spaces. 4. Express opinions and feelings. Don't just state facts, say what you think or feel about them. I really enjoy my job because I find it quite challenging sometimes when I absolutely love Italian food, especially. 5. Use linking words, appropriately, adding, and, also, as well as, besides, furthermore contrasting, but, however, although, while, whereas, on the other hand reason, because, since, as, due to result, so, therefore, as a result, consequently giving examples, for example, for instance, such as, like 6. Ask yourself why, and can I give an example? Mentally prompt yourself to add depth after your initial answer. Examples of expanded answers. Question: do you like reading? Bad: yes, sometimes. Too short. Good: yes, I do, particularly non-fiction books. I find biographies fascinating because I enjoy learning about real people's lives and challenges. For instance, I recently finished a biography about Marie Curie which was incredibly inspiring. Answer and feeling and reason and example. Question: is your hometown good for young people? Bad: it's okay. Too short/vague. Good: well, overall I'd say yes, but it depends. On the positive side, there are several good universities and colleges, so there are plenty of educational opportunities. There's also a decent music scene. However, the cost of living is quite high, which can be a challenge for students or young people starting their careers. Qualified answer and positives and reason and example and contrast/negative. Question: what do you like about your job? Bad: the people. Needs expansion. Good: the best part is definitely working with my colleagues. We have a really supportive and collaborative team environment. For example, if someone is struggling with a project, others always offer help without hesitation. It makes coming to work much more enjoyable. Answer and reason and example and feeling/result. Key reminders for Part 1. Be natural, don't memorize long speeches. Use your natural vocabulary. Listen carefully, answer the specific question asked. Keep it concise, while expanding, don't ramble for minutes. Aim for 2 to 4 sentences per answer, 15 to 30 seconds. Don't panic: if you don't understand, politely ask the examiner to repeat. Sorry, could you repeat the question, please? Pronunciation and intonation. Speak clearly. Use natural stress and rhythm. Avoid monotone. Smile and be engaged. Make eye contact, if culturally appropriate, and show you're participating in a conversation. By mastering the art of expanding your answers naturally using these techniques, you'll start your speaking test confidently and set a strong foundation for a good score. Good luck! Here's a comprehensive guide to IELTS Speaking Part 2, Individual Long Turn, covering strategy, structure, timing, and an example for describe a skill you learned as a child. Chapter 14, Speaking Part 2 Individual Long Turn, 3 to 4 minutes. Purpose: to assess your ability to speak at length, 1 to 2 minutes, on a given topic, organizing your thoughts coherently, using a range of vocabulary and grammar. Format: 1 preparation, 1 minute you receive a cue card with a topic and 3 to 4 bullet points. You have 1 minute to prepare. You can make notes. 2 speaking, 1 to 2 minutes you must speak continuously on the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. The examiner won't interrupt. 3 follow-up, 1 to 2 questions the examiner asks 1 to 2 brief follow-up questions related to your talk. Cue card strategy, notes, structure, and timing 1. Understanding the cue card, read the main topic and all bullet points carefully. Your task is to cover all bullet points. They provide the essential structure. Example cue card: describe a skill you learned as a child. You should say what the skill was, when and how you learned it, who taught you or helped you learn it, and explain how you feel about this skill now. 2 brainstorming and note-taking, the crucial 1 minute focus on keywords. Jot down only keywords or very short phrases, 4 to 6 words max, for each bullet point. Do not write sentences. You won't have time to read them. Use symbols/abbreviations, leads to, increase, e.g., for example, W/with, B/C, because. Structure your notes, organize them clearly under each bullet point heading. Prioritize vocabulary, know 2 to 3 specific/interesting words or phrases you want to use for each point. Example notes: skill, swimming what, swimming life-saving skill, summer fun when/how, age 7 to 8, local pool, lessons every Sat am, terrified initially, float first kicking arms breathing who. Patient instructor, Mr. Davies, Dad practice evenings/weekends, encouragement feel now, grateful. Essential life skill, love sea/swimming holidays, confident, teaches perseverance 3. Structuring your talk, the framework introduction, 15 to 20 SECS paraphrase the topic and state the specific skill. Okay, I'd like to talk about learning to swim when I was quite young. It's a skill that's become incredibly important to me. Body paragraph 1, bullet point 1, what, 20 to 25 SECS describe the skill simply. Essentially, it's the ability to move through water efficiently and safely. Body paragraph 2, bullet points 2 and 3, when/how and who, 40 to 50 SECS. This is the core narrative. Link the learning process and the people involved. I started learning around the age of 7 or 8. My main teacher was. What really helped was. Body paragraph 3, bullet point 4, explain feelings now, 20 to 30 SECS reflect on its current value/impact. Looking back, I feel profoundly grateful. The main reason is. Conclusion, optional, 5 to 10 SECS. A brief final thought if time. So, yeah, it's definitely one of the most valuable things I learned as a child. Asterisk, don't force this if you're running out of time. For managing timing, the 2 minutes practice, use a timer. Practice speaking for 1 minute 45 SECS consistently. This builds a buffer for the real test. Pacing, don't rush the intro. Spend the most time on the when/how/who narrative. Keep the what and feel now sections concise but developed. Keep talking. If you finish early, before 1 minute, the examiner will ask you to continue. Have a fallback, actually, thinking more about how I learned, another thing about how I feel now is. If the examiner stops you at 2 minutes, don't worry, it's normal. Use your notes, glance down quickly at the next keyword before finishing your current point to keep the flow smooth. Don't read your notes verbatim. Example response, describe a skill you learned as a child, using the notes above and the structure outlined. Okay, I'd like to talk about learning to swim, which is a skill I picked up when I was around 7 or 8 years old. I consider it one of the most fundamental and valuable things I learned in my childhood. What the skill was, essentially, swimming is the ability to propel yourself through water using coordinated movements of your limbs and body. Beyond just being a recreational activity, it's a crucial life-saving skill and was always linked to summer fun for me as a kid. When and how you learned it, I started proper lessons at our local public swimming pool when I was in primary school, probably in year 3. We had weekly lessons every Saturday morning for about a term. I remember being quite terrified of putting my face underwater initially. The learning process was very step by step. We began just getting comfortable in the water, holding onto floats, then progressed to basic kicking while holding the side. After that came coordinating arm strokes, and finally, the trickiest part was mastering rhythmic breathing, turning your head to the side to breathe while your arms were moving. It took a lot of practice and felt quite challenging at times. Who taught you or helped you learn it? My main instructor was a very patient man named Mr. Davies. He had a calm way of explaining things and demonstrating the techniques. He never forced anyone and was really encouraging. Outside of the lessons, my dad played a huge role. He'd take me back to the pool in the evenings or on weekends to practice what I'd learned. His support and patience, just spending that extra time with me splashing around and building my confidence, were absolutely vital. I wouldn't have progressed as quickly without him cheering me on from the side of the pool. And explain how you feel about this skill now. Looking back, I feel incredibly grateful that I learned to swim properly at that age. It's genuinely an essential life skill that everyone should have for safety. Beyond that, it's brought me so much enjoyment throughout my life. I absolutely love swimming in the sea on holidays. It's my favorite way to relax and cool off. It gives me a great sense of freedom and confidence in the water. Learning it also taught me a valuable lesson about perseverance. Sticking with something even when it feels difficult at first can lead to a rewarding and lasting ability. So, yeah, mastering swimming early on is definitely something I really appreciate now. Word count, approximate 380, spoken naturally at a moderate pace, this fits comfortably within 2 minutes. Follow-up questions, examples, be prepared for 1 to 2. Do you think it's important for all children to learn to swim? Did you learn any other skills at that age? Would you like to improve your swimming further? Key success factors for Part 2, 1. Cover all bullet points, this is non-negotiable for coherence. 2. Speak fluently and continuously, avoid long pauses, 3 to 4 seconds. Use hesitation fillers naturally if needed, well, you know, let me think. 3. Use a range of vocabulary, show off precise nouns, strong verbs, and interesting adjectives/adverbs, e.g., fundamental, valuable, terrified, step-by-step, coordinated, rhythmic, vital, perseverance, rewarding. 4. Use a range of grammar, employ different tenses, past simple for narrative, present perfect/present simple for current feelings, complex sentences, link ideas with because, although, which, that asterisk, conditionals, if I hadn't learned. 5. Develop your ideas, don't just state facts, explain, elaborate, and give reasons, it gives me a great sense of freedom, learning it also taught me, asterisk. 6. Pronounce words clearly, focus on clarity over speed. 7. Be engaging, show some enthusiasm or reflection about the topic. Vary your intonation. 8. Practice regularly, record yourself and listen back. Time yourself. Practice with a wide range of cue cards. By mastering the 1-minute note strategy and the 2-minute speaking structure, you can approach the individual long turn with confidence and maximize your score. Good luck. Here's a strategic guide to mastering IELTS speaking Part 3, focusing on handling abstract questions, linking ideas, and justifying your opinions effectively. Chapter 15, Speaking Part 3 Discussion, 4 to 5 minutes, Purpose, to assess your ability to discuss abstract ideas, analyze issues, speculate about the future, justify opinions, and engage in a deeper, more complex conversation related to the Part 2 topic. Format, the examiner asks 4 to 6 broader, more abstract questions connected thematically to your Part 2 topic. The questions delve into societal trends, comparisons, causes/effects, future predictions, and values. Key difference, unlike Part 1, personal, or Part 2, descriptive/narrative, Part 3 requires analytical thinking and extended discourse on impersonal topics. It's about how you think and express complex ideas. Nature of abstract questions, expect questions exploring society, social trends, values, norms, problems, comparisons between groups/generations/cultures. Education, the purpose of education, methods, technology's role, lifelong learning, comparing systems. Future trends, predictions, potential impacts of technology/environmental changes, societal evolution. Causes and effects, why things happen, what consequences they have. Problems and solutions, identifying issues and suggesting remedies. Comparisons, past versus present, different cultures/generations, advantages/disadvantages. Values and importance, why something matters, ethical considerations. Example questions, linked to a skill learned as a child, Part 2 Topic 1. Society, what skills do you think are most valued by society today compared to when your parents were young? 2. Education, how important do you think practical skills, like cooking or fixing things, are compared to academic skills in education? 3. Future trends, how might the skills children need to learn change in the next 50 years? 4. Causes/effects, why do you think some children find it easier to learn new skills than others? 5. Problems/solutions, What can be done to encourage children to learn skills that aren't taught in school? 6. Value/importance. Is it more important for children to learn skills individually or as part of a team? Core technique, linking ideas and justifying opinions. This is the absolute heart of a strong Part 3 performance. You must move beyond simple statements. 1. Linking ideas, cohesion and coherence. Use sophisticated linking words, move beyond and, but, because. Adding/emphasizing, furthermore, moreover, additionally, in fact, not only, but also. Contrasting, however, nevertheless, on the other hand, conversely, although/even though, despite/in spite of. Explaining cause/effect, consequently, as a result, therefore, thus, hence, due to/owing to, this leads to. Giving examples, for instance, to illustrate. A prime example of this is, such as expressing condition, if, then, unless, provided that, in the event that. Conceding a point, admittedly, granted, it is true that, while I acknowledge that. Structuring arguments, firstly/first and foremost, secondly, finally, on a broader level, more fundamentally. Use referencing, use pronouns, this, that, these, those, it, they, and synonyms to refer back to ideas mentioned earlier, avoiding repetition. Some argue that digital skills are paramount. This perspective is understandable given our tech-driven world, but it overlooks. Use parallel structures, present contrasting ideas using similar grammatical forms. Learning individually fosters self-reliance and discipline, whereas learning in a team develops collaboration and communication skills. 2. Justifying opinions, providing support. Never just state an opinion, always back it up. The why, and how. Principle, immediately after stating your view, ask yourself these questions mentally. Methods of justification, reasoning, explain the logical chain of thought. I believe critical thinking will be even more crucial in the future because with the rise of AI, the ability to analyze information, spot biases, and make sound judgments will differentiate humans from machines. Examples, real or hypothetical. Ground your abstract point in something concrete. For example, a child who learns basic gardening not only gains a practical skill but also develops an understanding of nature and patience, qualities valuable in many life situations. Consequences/effects, explain the results of something. If schools neglect teaching financial literacy, the consequence could be that young adults enter the workforce unprepared to manage debt or savings effectively. Comparisons/contrasts, highlight differences to support your point. While vocational skills lead directly to specific jobs, whereas soft skills like adaptability are transferable across careers and therefore offer more long-term security in a changing job market. Expert opinion/general knowledge, carefully. You can reference common knowledge or broad trends, but avoid fabricated studies. It's widely recognized that early exposure to multiple languages enhances cognitive flexibility. Concession and refutation, acknowledge a counter-argument before explaining why your view still holds. Admittedly, technology automates many tasks, which might suggest practical skills are less vital. However, I'd argue that hands-on skills foster problem-solving abilities and resilience that technology dependence can erode. Example response, combining linking and justification. Question, what skills do you think are most valued by society today compared to when your parents were young? Response, focus on technique. That's an interesting question. Undoubtedly, there's been a significant shift. Linking, transition phrase, whereas my parents' generation often prioritized very specific technical or trade skills that guaranteed stable employment, things like machining, bookkeeping, or skilled craftsmanship. I believe contemporary society places a much higher premium on adaptability and digital literacy. Linking, contrasting and giving example and stating opinion. The primary reason for this, I think, is the unprecedented pace of technological change. Linking, cause/effect and hedging. Jobs and even entire industries evolve rapidly, meaning that the specific technical skill you learn today might be obsolete in a decade. Consequently, the ability to learn new things quickly and adapt to new tools and platforms is far more valuable for long-term career resilience than mastering one fixed skill set. Linking, cause/effect and consequence and comparison. Furthermore, alongside digital proficiency, soft skills like complex problem solving, creativity, and emotional intelligence are increasingly recognized as crucial. Linking, adding and giving examples. This is largely because automation is handling more routine tasks, so the human edge lies in areas requiring nuanced understanding, innovation, and interpersonal connection skills that are much harder to replicate with AI. Linking, cause/effect and consequence and referencing. Of course, foundational practical skills still hold importance, no one disputes that. Linking, concession, however, their relative value within the broader skill set society seeks has arguably diminished compared to the premium now placed on flexibility, digital competence, and those higher-order cognitive and interpersonal abilities. Linking, contrasting and justifying by relative value. Key strategies for success in Part 3. 1. Listen intently, ensure you fully understand the specific angle of the question. Ask for clarification if needed. Do you mean in terms of employment, or more generally in social life? 2. Paraphrase the question, briefly shows comprehension and buys thinking time. So, you're asking about how societal values regarding skills have evolved. 3. Think before you speak. Briefly, a short pause, 2 to 3 seconds, is acceptable to formulate a coherent response. Use a filler. That's a broad question, let me think about that for a second. 4. Structure your response. Even in discussion, have a mini structure. State main point, justify, reason/example/effect, develop further, link to another point/concede and refute, conclude thought. 5. Develop each point, avoid giving one-sentence answers. Extend your ideas using justification techniques. 6. Be willing to speculate. Use modal verbs for predictions or possibilities. Might, could, may, is likely to. In the future, we might see a greater emphasis on. 7. Use a range of vocabulary. Employ topic-specific vocabulary, e.g., automation, cognitive flexibility, vocational training, interpersonal skills, technological disruption, lifelong learning, transferable skills. Show you can discuss abstract concepts. 8. Maintain complex grammar. Use a variety of sentence structures, conditional sentences, if, then, relative clauses, which, that, perfect tenses, have changed, passive voice, are valued, and modal perfects, might have been. 9. Engage in dialogue. Treat it like a discussion, not an interrogation. You can briefly acknowledge the examiner's point if it builds on yours. Yes, that's a good point about globalization also being a factor. 10. Stay calm and confident. If you realize you've made a minor error, correct it simply and move on. Don't panic if the examiner challenges your view politely, defend it calmly with reasoning. Remember, Part 3 is your chance to demonstrate the full range of your spoken English at a high level. Focus on presenting well-reasoned, well-linked, and well-supported ideas fluently and coherently. Practice discussing abstract topics on common IELTS themes, technology, environment, education, society, work, leisure, globalization, using the linking and justification techniques consistently. Good luck! Here's a comprehensive guide to IELTS time management strategies, crucial for maximizing your score across all sections. Chapter 16, Time Management Strategies. Balancing speed, accuracy, and nerves under pressure is the key to IELTS success. Core principle: allocate minutes per section. Target: complete all questions with 2 to 5 minutes review time. Section total time strategy: critical deadlines listening 30 minutes plus 10 minutes transfer preview time. Use 30s gaps to read next *. Section questions BR answer while listening, Write directly on answer sheet. BR transfer time. Double check spelling/grammar. Finish each section during its playback. No extra time. Reading BR, Academic/GT, 60, Min branch, 3 texts, Text 1, 15 minutes, simplest, BR Text 2, 20, Min branch. Text 3, 22, Min branch. Review, 3, Min branch. Skim. First scan for answers at 40 minutes, ensure you're starting text 3. Writing 60 minutes. Task 1, report/letter. 20, Min branch. Task 2, essay 38, Min branch. Review, 2 minutes. At 20 minutes, must move to task 2. Speaking 11 to 14 minutes. Part 1, 3 to 4 minutes, 2 to 3 sentences/answer, BR Part 2, 3 minutes, 1 minute. Prep. 2 minutes. Talk, BR Part 3, 4 to 5 minutes, 3 to 4. Developed answers, Part 2, stop when examiner interrupts. Balancing speed versus accuracy. The danger zones and solutions. Problem signs. Fix --. 2 slow blank answers in reading. BR unfinished essays. BR rushed speaking. Part 3 pacing drills, practice with harsh timers. BR skip and return, circle hard questions. BR outline faster, use bullet points. Writing/speaking, too fast. Silly errors, spelling/grammar, BR misread questions. BR shallow answers, speaking, accuracy checks, build in 2 min reviews. BR keyword scanning, underline task words, e.g., discuss, justify, compare. BR expand answers, use Y. Example. Effect, checklist. Nerve/freeze. Mind going blank. BR losing track. BR panic on hard questions. Skip protocol, immediately move on, flag for review. BR breathing reset, 5 sec. Inhale/exhale. BR phrase bank, memorize 3 fallback phrases, that's complex, I suppose, high impact time savers for each section. Listening, predict answers, guess word type, noun/number/adjective, during preview, never rewrite answers during playback. Edit in transfer time. Reading, text first, questions after, skim heading/topic. Sentences before reading questions, parallel processing, solve paragraph-wise questions as you read, e.g., match headings T/F/NG. Writing, strict. Task 1 cap, academic, 3 minutes. Analyze graph. 12 minutes. Write 5 minutes. Edit, general, 2 minutes. Plan letter. 15 minutes. Write 3 minutes. Edit, task 2 framework, plain text. Min 0 to 5, brainstorm and thesis. Min 5 to 30, write essay, intro. BP1 BP2 conclusion, min 30 to 38, refine examples/vocab and check coherence. Speaking, Part 2 hack, structure notes as 4 bullet points, 1 per cue card. Prompt and feelings, Part 3 depth speed, better to give 3 thoughtful answers than 5 rushed ones. Realistic practice drills. 1. Reading, solve text 3 under 18 minutes, use official tests. 2. Writing, practice 250-word essays in 35 minutes, no dictionary. 3. Listening, do section 4 with distractions, e.g., fan noise. 4. Speaking, record Part 3 answers. Analyze if you're answering the exact question, giving reasons and examples, using linking words. Pro tip, use a visible clock, not phone, during practice. Exam halls often have wall clocks. Train yourself to check time at transition points, e.g., finishing a paragraph. Remember, perfect time management comes from 3 things: knowing the test structure, cold practicing under exam conditions, developing a personal rhythm, e.g., fast reader. Spend extra time checking answers, start tracking your per section times today. It's the single biggest predictor of IELTS readiness. Asterisk, need a printable time allocation cheat sheet? Let me know. Asterisk, here's a targeted vocabulary builder for IELTS, focusing on topic-specific language, synonyms, and natural collocations to boost your lexical resource score. Chapter 17, Vocabulary Builder. Boost your lexical resource, LR, score with topic-specific language and precise collocations. 1. Topic-specific lexical resource. Use these words to sound sophisticated in common IELTS themes, Education Concept Advanced Vocabulary Collocations -- Benefits Cognitive Development, Critical Thinking, Holistic Approach, Lifelong Learning Foster Creativity, Acquire Knowledge, Cultivate Skills Systems Curriculum Design, Standardized Testing, Vocational Training. Tertiary Education Revise the Curriculum, Implement Reforms, Pursue Higher Education Problems Educational Disparity, Academic Pressure, Funding Shortfalls, Rote Learning Bridge the Gap, Alleviate Stress, Memorize Facts Solutions Personalized Learning, Inclusive Education, Digital Literacy, Interdisciplinary Studies Tailor Instruction, Promote Equity, Integrate Technology Example, SA governments must address educational disparity by allocating sufficient resources to rural schools, ensuring all students acquire essential digital literacy. Environment Concept Advanced Vocabulary Collocations -- Problems Climate Catastrophe, Biodiversity Loss, Deforestation, Carbon Footprint Accelerate Global Warming, Deplete Resources, Emit Greenhouse Gases Solutions Sustainable Development, Renewable Energy, Conservation Efforts, Circular Economy Harness Solar Power, Enact Environmental Policies, Reduce Waste. Actions Mitigate Damage, Preserve Ecosystems, Combat Pollution, Enforce Regulations Impose Carbon Taxes, Adopt Eco-Friendly Practices, Restore Habitats Example, Speaking Part 3 To combat climate change, we must transition to renewable energy and preserve critical ecosystems like rainforests, which act as carbon sinks. Technology Concept Advanced Vocabulary Collocations -- Benefits Automation, Seamless Connectivity, Innovation, Efficiency Streamline Processes, Revolutionize Industries, Access Information Risks Data Breaches, Digital Divide, Job Displacement, Algorithmic Bias Compromise Privacy, Widen the Gap, Replace Human Labor Trends Artificial Intelligence. Virtual Reality, Big Data, IoT, Internet of Things, Integrate AI, Leverage Data Analytics, Develop Smart Devices Example, Opinion Essay While automation enhances efficiency, it risks causing widespread job displacement, therefore, reskilling programs are essential. 2. Avoiding repetition, synonyms and collocations replace overused words with precise alternatives, common words and upgrades basic word synonyms topic collocations -- important crucial, vital, paramount, indispensable play a pivotal role, bear significant weight bad detrimental, adverse, harmful, detrimental pose a threat, exert a negative impact good, beneficial, advantageous, favorable yield positive outcomes, prove advantageous big substantial, considerable, profound large scale, far-reaching implications problem challenge, issue, dilemma, obstacle hurdle address the concern, tackle the natural collocations single words instead of, use collocations -- solve problems tackle challenges, address issues get better show improvement. Make progress use technology harness technology, leverage digital tools protect environment preserve ecosystems, conserve biodiversity 3. Avoiding word choice errors don't, force complex words if you're unsure. Do, prioritize precision and collocation. Technology causes ubiquitous problems. Technology poses widespread challenges, such as social isolation. Practice Toolkit 1. Topic Journals, create word maps for 10 common IELTS topics, health, urbanization, globalization, etc. 2 collocation drills, complete, ___________ a solution, implement / devise / propose, choose, the policy ________ economic growth. A. Boosted B, rose C, ascended A, 3. Synonym sprints, list 5 alternatives for, develop, change, help, stop. Pro tip, download the IELTS vocabulary flashcards here, https://tinyurl.com/IELTS lexicon, PDF with 200 plus topic terms, collocations, and examples. Remember, examiners don't expect rare words, they reward contextual accuracy, collocation mastery, and varied phrasing. Aim for natural sophistication, not forced complexity. Here's a targeted guide to grammar for IELTS Band 7+, focusing on complex structures and punctuation rules essential for high scores. Chapter 18, Grammar for Band 7+. Master these to demonstrate flexibility and precision. Band 8 Descriptor. 1. Complex sentences, beyond simple clauses. Key structures, structure formula. IELTS application example. Relative clauses. Main clause plus who / which / that / where. Add details without new sentences. Renewable energy, which reduces carbon emissions, is crucial globally. Non-defining clauses. Main clause plus who / which. Add extra info, use commas. Electric vehicles, which are gaining popularity, lower urban pollution. Conditionals. Type 1, if and present, will end base verb br. Type 2, if and past, would end base verb br. Type 3, if and past perfect, would have end past participle. Discuss possibilities / hypotheses, common in writing. Task 2 / part 3. If governments invested in green tech, they would mitigate climate change. Type 2, mixed conditionals. Combine type 2 plus 3 show past actions affecting present. If we had adopted renewables earlier, cities wouldn't be so polluted now. Cleft sentences. It is / was, that / who, emphasize key elements. It is education that empowers marginalized communities. Band 7+ tip, use participle phrases, ing/ed, to replace clauses. Faced with budget cuts, schools prioritize core subjects. Instead of, when schools are faced. 2. Punctuation rules in academic writing critical for task 1. Half cohesion, rule. Use case correct example. Common error comma, before coordinating conjunctions, fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, br after introductory clauses. Br around non-defining clauses. Urbanization accelerates, yet it strains infrastructure. Br however, solutions exist. Br hybrid cars, which use less fuel, reduce emissions. Asterisk renewable energy is vital although it's costly. Asterisk, missing comma before although, semicolon, join related independent clauses. Br replace commas in complex lists. Tourism boosts the economy, it also creates jobs. Br key factors include cost, ease of use, environmental impact, and scalability. Students need skills, like critical thinking. Not an independent clause, introduce lists / explanations. 2 solutions are viable, solar power and wind energy. Such as, solar and wind. Avoid after such as, apostrophe, possession, government's policy, br contractions, avoid informal writing. The country's education system needs reform. Government's policy, missing apostrophe, the Band 7+ punctuation checklist, use commas to separate clauses, prevents run-ons. Replace repetitive conjunctions, e.g., and, with semicolons. Never use contractions, can't, cannot. Always proofread for comma splices. Deforestation is rising, it harms biodiversity. Deforestation is rising, it harms biodiversity. 3. Band 7+ grammar in action writing. Task 2 example, environment topic. While fossil fuels remain the primary energy source globally, it is sustainable alternatives that offer long-term benefits. If governments redirected subsidies to renewables, emissions would decrease significantly. Solar and wind power, which are increasingly affordable, exemplify this shift. Analysis, complex sentence 1, contrasting clause, while, plus cleft sentence, it is, that. Complex sentence 2, type 2 conditional, if, would. Complex sentence 3, non-defining relative clause, which. Practice drills for Band 7+1. Combine simple sentences into one complex sentence. Technology connects people. It sometimes causes isolation. Although technology connects people, it may cause isolation. Concession clause. 2. Fix punctuation errors. Social media enables communication, however it spreads misinformation. Social media enables communication, however, it spreads misinformation. 3. Rewrite using a conditional. People don't recycle enough. Waste pollution increases. If people recycled more, waste pollution would decrease. Type 2, key to Band 7+, examiners look for, accuracy, error-free complex structures, no tense/agreement mistakes. Range, mix relative clauses, conditionals, participles, and conjunctions. Punctuation, flawless commas/semicolons to guide readers. Pro tip, use these structures in speaking part 3 too. Had schools adopted digital tools earlier, remote learning would have been smoother during the pandemic. Asterisk, type 3 conditional, master these, and you'll unlock the grammatical range and accuracy needed for Band 7+. Based on your excerpt, Chapter 19, full-length practice tests is a crucial component of an IELTS preparation resource. Here's a breakdown of what it typically offers and why it's important. 1. Full-length practice tests, what they are: complete simulations of the real IELTS exam, covering all 4 sections, listening, reading, writing, speaking, in one sitting. Purpose, to give you the most realistic exam experience possible before the actual test day. This is essential for building stamina, managing time effectively under pressure, and understanding the full scope and flow of the test. 2. Timed simulations, academic and general training timed. The tests must be completed within the strict time limits of the real IELTS exam, approximate 2 hours 45 minutes for listening, reading, writing, 11 to 14 minutes for speaking. Simulations, they replicate the format, question types, instructions, and difficulty level of the actual test. Both modules, separate tests are provided for academic and general training versions of IELTS, as the reading and writing sections differ significantly between them. This ensures you practice the specific test you'll be taking. 3. Answer keys with band score analysis. Answer keys provide the correct answers for the listening and reading sections. Band score analysis, this is the most valuable part for improvement. It typically includes scoring guide/rubrics, explanation of how writing, Task 1 and Task 2, and speaking are scored against the official IELTS band descriptors, e.g., task achievement/response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy for writing, fluency, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation for speaking. Sample answers, often includes high band score sample answers, especially for writing and speaking, to demonstrate what examiners look for. Analysis/feedback, commentary explaining why a particular answer is correct or incorrect, and how your performance, especially in writing and speaking, maps onto the band scores. For writing/speaking, it might analyze strengths and weaknesses in your responses based on the criteria. Estimated band score allows you to calculate your approximate band score for each section and overall based on your practice test performance. Why is this chapter essential? Realistic experience mimics the pressure, timing, and length of the real test. Diagnostic tool identifies your current strengths and weaknesses across all sections. Time management practice, crucial for success, especially in reading and writing. Stamina building, sitting and concentrating for nearly 3 hours requires practice. Understanding scoring, the analysis demystifies how you are assessed, allowing you to target your preparation effectively. Confidence building, successfully completing full tests boosts confidence, understanding mistakes reduces anxiety. How to use this chapter effectively: 1. Simulate exam conditions, find a quiet space, time yourself strictly, and do the test in one sitting, except perhaps the speaking, which can be done separately but still recorded/timed. 2. Check answers, use the answer keys for listening and reading. 3. Analyze thoroughly, don't just see what you got wrong. Use the band score analysis to understand why, for listening/reading, was it vocabulary? Not catching synonyms? Misunderstanding the question type? Carelessness? For writing, compare your essays to the samples and rubrics. Where did you meet the criteria? Where did you fall short, e.g., off-topic, insufficient development, grammar errors, limited vocabulary? For speaking, record yourself if possible. Compare to the criteria and sample answers. Evaluate your fluency, vocabulary range, grammatical accuracy, pronunciation, and ability to develop answers. 4. Target weaknesses, use the insights from your analysis to focus your subsequent study on specific areas needing improvement. 5. Repeat, take multiple full-length tests throughout your preparation to track progress and refine your strategy. By diligently working through the full-length practice tests in Chapter 19 and utilizing the answer keys and band score analysis, you'll be well equipped to achieve your target IELTS score. Good luck! Based on this excerpt, Chapter 20, Test Day Checklist, within Part 4, Beyond the Test, is a vital practical guide for the final hurdle, actually taking the IELTS exam. It focuses on ensuring you arrive prepared, confident, and ready to perform at your best. Here's a breakdown of what each component likely covers and why it's essential. 1. Required ID, what to bring/not bring. Purpose, to prevent disqualification or entry denial due to administrative errors. Typical content, required ID, the exact form, of identification accepted, e.g., valid passport only in most countries. National ID may be accepted in some. Stressing checking official IELTS test center instructions is crucial. Emphasizes the ID must match your registration details exactly and be valid. What to bring, usually only the required ID, possibly mentions bringing the test day confirmation email/letter if instructed. Reminds you to bring any required medical documentation pre-approved for special arrangements. What not to bring, strict rules. A comprehensive list of prohibited items, typically including phones, smartwatches, or any electronic devices, must be turned off and stored in designated areas. Watches of any kind, test centers usually have clocks. Bags, coats, hats, except for religious purposes, possibly needing prior approval. Food or drinks, except water in a transparent bottle, often without labels. Notes, dictionaries, papers, pens, pencils, highlighters, all writing materials are provided. Valuables, advises leaving them at home. Why it's crucial, arriving without the correct ID or with prohibited items can lead to being refused entry or having your test cancelled. Knowing this in advance removes a huge source of last-minute stress. 2. Managing test anxiety. Purpose, to equip you with strategies to control nerves, stay focused, and perform optimally despite the pressure. Typical content, understanding anxiety, explains that some nervousness is normal and even beneficial, keeps you alert, but excessive anxiety is detrimental. Preparation is key, reinforces that thorough preparation, using resources like Chapter 19, is the best foundation for confidence. Pre-test strategies, the night before, get adequate sleep, eat a healthy dinner, prepare your ID/clothes, avoid intense last-minute cramming. Morning of, eat a good breakfast, arrive early at the test center, reduces panic about lateness, avoid anxious conversations with other candidates. During the test strategies, breathing techniques, simple deep breathing exercises to calm the nervous system during stressful moments. Mindfulness/grounding, techniques to bring focus back to the present task if your mind races, e.g., noticing physical sensations. Positive self-talk, replacing negative thoughts, I'm going to fail, with realistic, positive ones, I'm prepared, I can do this, focus on this one question. Focus on the task, not others, ignore what other candidates are doing, Concentrate on your own test. Time management, reminders to keep an eye on the clock but not obsess, and to move on if stuck on a question. Accept imperfection, acknowledging you might not know every answer and that's okay, focus on doing your best overall. Use the instructions, taking a moment to read instructions carefully can prevent errors and boost confidence. Managing specific section anxiety, tips tailored for the unique pressures of listening, fear of missing answers, reading, time pressure, writing, task completion/ideas, speaking, interaction/fluency. Why it's crucial: anxiety can significantly impair performance, affecting concentration, memory recall, and time management. Learning practical coping mechanisms helps you access the knowledge and skills you've worked hard to develop. Why is Chapter 20, and Part 4, important? Bridges preparation and performance, moves beyond knowledge/skills to the practical execution of taking the test. Prevents catastrophic mistakes, ensures you meet administrative requirements, avoiding the disaster of being turned away. Optimizes mindset, provides tools to manage the psychological aspect, turning nervous energy into focused performance. Reduces unnecessary stress, knowing exactly what to expect logistically, what to bring, what happens at the center, removes unknowns that fuel anxiety. Maximizes your score potential, by ensuring you are physically present, mentally prepared, and able to focus clearly. How to use this chapter effectively: 1. Review early and close to test day, don't leave this until the night before. Read it during your preparation to internalize the logistics, and revisit it in the final week. 2. Prepare your ID, double and triple check the ID requirements for your specific test center/country. Ensure your ID is valid. 3. Plan your test day, figure out transport, parking, arrival time, aim for 30 to 45 minutes early. Pack only your ID the night before. 4. Practice anxiety techniques, don't just read them, try the breathing, mindfulness, and positive self-talk techniques during your practice tests or when feeling stressed. Find what works for you. 5. Mental rehearsal, visualize yourself arriving calmly, going through check-in, sitting down, and starting the test confidently using your anxiety management tools. 6. Focus on what you control, remind yourself that you've prepared, you know the rules, and you have strategies to handle nerves. Focus on executing your plan. Chapter 20 is your essential guide to navigating the practical and psychological demands of test day itself, ensuring all your hard work in chapters 1 to 19 pays off. Good luck. Based on this excerpt, Chapter 21, Results and Next Steps, within Part 4, Beyond the Test, is the essential guide for what happens after you take the IELTS exam. It focuses on understanding your results, taking action if needed, and leveraging your score for your goals, primarily visas and immigration in the snippet. Here's a detailed breakdown of the listed components and their importance. 1. How to request a remark, EOR, inquiry on results. What it is, the formal process for asking IELTS to remark, reassess, one or more sections of your test if you believe your score does not accurately reflect your performance. Why it's covered, potential for error. While marking is rigorous, mistakes can happen, especially in the more subjective writing and speaking sections. Close to a band threshold, if you narrowly miss the score you need, e.g., 6.5 versus the required 7.0, a remark might change the outcome. Typical content, eligibility, who can apply, usually within 6 weeks of the test date. Process, how to apply, online/form via your test center, fees involved, and required information, test report form number, sections to remark. Time frame, how long it takes, typically 2 to 21 days, but can be longer. Possible outcomes, score increases, your fee is refunded, and a new test report form, TRF, is issued. Score stays the same, no refund, original TRF stands. Score decreases, extremely rare, but your score would be lowered and the original TRF cancelled, you keep your fee. Strategic considerations, cost-benefit, is the fee worth the chance of an increase? Fees are significant, often close to the test cost itself. Realistic expectations, emphasizes that remarks usually don't change scores, but significant discrepancies can be corrected. Advises considering if your practice test scores consistently aligned with your result. Timing, if you have an application deadline, will the remark process finish in time? Limitations, you can't request a remark just because you're disappointed, you need a genuine belief there was an error. 2. Using IELTS for visa applications, what it is, guidance on how to use your IELTS results specifically for visa and immigration purposes, which is the primary goal for many test takers. Why it's crucial, specific requirements, immigration authorities, like UKVI, IRCC Canada, DHA Australia, USCIS USA/NZ, often have very specific IELTS requirements regarding test type. Academic versus general training, GT is usually required for work/immigration visas, academic for university study visas. Test version, some require the IELTS for UKVI or IELTS for Canada specific test versions, administered under enhanced security protocols. Asterisk using the wrong test type/version can invalidate your application. Minimum scores, required minimum scores per section, listening, reading, writing, speaking, and sometimes overall. Test validity, IELTS results are usually only valid for 2 years for immigration purposes. Sending results, how official TRFs must be sent directly to the immigration authority, often electronically via the IELTS system. Complexity, immigration rules are complex and constantly evolving. Misunderstanding requirements can lead to application refusal. Typical content, country-specific guidance, overview of major immigration destinations, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, USA, and their common IELTS requirements, though stresses always check the official government immigration website for the latest, most accurate rules. IELTS for UKVI/IELTS for Canada, explanation of what these specific test versions are, why they are needed, and how they differ from standard IELTS. Understanding CLB, Canada, how IELTS scores map to the Canadian language benchmarks, CLB, used for immigration points. Understanding CEFR, Europe/UK, how IELTS scores relate to the common European framework of reference for languages levels sometimes referenced. Sending TRFs to immigration authorities, instructions on how to authorize IELTS to send your results electronically, e.g., via the IELTS verification service. Validity period, reinforcing the 2-year validity rule for immigration. Important reminders, check official sources, relentless emphasis on verifying requirements directly with the relevant government immigration department. Plan ahead, ensure you take the correct test type/version well before your application deadline. Why is Chapter 21, and Part 4, important? Maximizes test utility, ensures your hard-earned IELTS score is used effectively to achieve your primary goal, visa, university admission, etc. Empowers informed decisions, provides critical information on the remark process, EOR, helping test takers decide if it's a worthwhile step. Prevents costly mistakes, clarifies complex immigration requirements, preventing the disaster of using the wrong test type/version or expired results. Provides next steps, moves beyond the test score itself to the practical application of that score in the real world. Reduces post-test anxiety, offers clear pathways for action if results aren't as expected or for navigating the visa process. How to use this chapter effectively. 1. Pre-test familiarization, skim this chapter before taking the test to understand the importance of taking the correct test type/version for your goal. The EOR process exists, but save detailed reading for if you need it. The 2-year validity period. 2. Post-test action, if needed review results, compare your scores to your target requirements. Consider EOR strategically, if you missed a critical score by a small margin, especially writing/speaking, Carefully read the EOR section, weigh the cost and chances, and act within the 6-week window if you proceed. 3. Using scores for visas. Identify exact requirements. Go to the official government immigration website for your target country before applying for the test and again before submitting your visa application. Note the specific test type/version, minimum scores per section, and validity rules. Order correct TRFs. Ensure you know how your immigration authority requires results to be sent, usually electronically via IELTS, and authorize this correctly. Verify validity. Confirm your TRF will still be valid on the date your visa application is submitted/processed. Chapter 21 is your roadmap for turning your IELTS result into tangible outcomes, whether that involves challenging a score or successfully navigating the complex requirements of visa and immigration applications. Always double-check requirements with official sources. Based on this excerpt, Chapter 22, Life After IELTS marks a significant shift in focus. It moves beyond the immediate goal of passing the test to how the skills developed for IELTS translate into real-world success in academic and professional settings. This chapter recognizes that IELTS is often just a gateway to bigger goals. Here's a breakdown of what each component likely covers and why it's valuable. 1. Academic writing skills for university. The GAP, IELTS academic writing, especially Task 1, describing visuals, and Task 2 essay writing, provides a foundation, but university demands are significantly higher and more diverse. Typical content, beyond the essay, introduction to common university writing genres, research papers, lab reports, literature reviews, critical analyses, annotated bibliographies, dissertations/theses. Research and source integration, how to find credible sources, synthesize information, paraphrase effectively, summarize complex ideas, and avoid plagiarism. Emphasis on proper citation styles, APA, MLA, Chicago, Harvard, etc. Academic tone and formality, deepening understanding of formal vocabulary, objective language, hedging, expressing caution/uncertainty appropriately, and avoiding colloquialisms or personal bias where required. Structure and argumentation, building complex arguments, developing nuanced thesis statements, organizing longer texts logically, using signposting language for coherence in extended writing. Discipline-specific conventions, highlighting that writing expectations can vary greatly between subjects, e.g., humanities versus sciences versus engineering. Critical thinking, applying analysis and evaluation skills learned for IELTS reading and writing to academic texts and research. Feedback and revision, strategies for seeking feedback from professors/TAs and effectively revising drafts. Why it's crucial. Many students struggle with the leap from IELTS/standardized test writing to the rigorous demands of university-level academic writing. This section bridges that gap, preventing students from being overwhelmed and setting them up for academic success. 2. Professional communication in English. The context, IELTS skills, especially speaking and writing, form a core, but professional environments require a broader range of nuanced and practical communication. Typical content, workplace genres, mastering common professional documents, emails, formal and informal, reports, proposals, memos, presentations, meeting agendas/minutes. Clarity and conciseness, writing and speaking with precision, avoiding jargon where inappropriate, getting to the point efficiently. Tone and audience awareness, adapting communication style for different audiences, colleagues, managers, clients, stakeholders, and purposes, informing, persuading, requesting, apologizing. Meetings and collaboration, participating effectively in meetings, expressing opinions, agreeing/disagreeing diplomatically, asking clarifying questions, collaborating on projects, giving and receiving feedback professionally. Presentations, structuring presentations clearly, using visual aids effectively, delivering with confidence, handling Q&A sessions. Networking and small talk, building rapport, initiating conversations, navigating professional social situations. Cross-cultural communication, understanding how communication norms, directness, formality, nonverbal cues, can vary across cultures in a global workplace. Avoiding misunderstandings. Professional etiquette, email signatures, subject lines, phone/video call manners, punctuality expectations. Why it's crucial: success in most careers hinges on strong communication. This section helps test takers transition from demonstrating language proficiency for a test to applying it effectively in a job to build relationships, achieve goals, and advance careers. Why is Chapter 22 important? Shifts perspective, moves from IELTS as an end goal to IELTS as a stepping stone. Adds practical value, provides skills directly applicable to the reasons most people take IELTS: study abroad, work abroad, career advancement. Addresses the real challenge: passing IELTS is one hurdle, thriving in an English medium academic or professional environment is another, often more complex, challenge. Leverages IELTS skills, shows test takers how the core competencies honed for IELTS, grammar, vocabulary, coherence, fluency, are the essential building blocks for these higher-level skills. Prevents underestimation, warns against the assumption that an IELTS score alone equates to readiness for university writing or professional communication. How to use this chapter effectively: 1. Align with your goals, focus intensely on the section most relevant to your primary reason for taking IELTS, academic or professional. 2. See IELTS as training, view your IELTS preparation not just as test practice, but as foundational training for these future demands. Pay attention to how the skills, paraphrasing, essay structure, speaking fluency, are the bedrock. 3. Proactive learning, academic, familiarize yourself with common citation styles before starting your degree. Practice summarizing academic articles. Explore resources on discipline-specific writing. Professional, observe professional emails and documents. Practice writing clear, concise emails. Role-play common workplace scenarios, meetings, presentations, networking. Seek opportunities to use English professionally. 4. Develop cultural intelligence, actively learn about communication norms in the country/culture where you plan to study or work. 5. Continuous improvement, recognize that mastering academic or professional communication is an ongoing process. Seek feedback and practice consistently. Chapter 22, Life after IELTS is the vital link between achieving your target band score and succeeding in the English-speaking academic or professional world you aim to enter. It ensures your IELTS journey has a lasting impact beyond test day. Based on this structure, the appendices provide essential reference tools and practical resources to maximize your IELTS preparation. Here's a breakdown of each component and why they're valuable. 1. A glossary of IELTS terms. Purpose: demystifies specialized language used in the test, scoring, and preparation materials. Examples and importance: TRF, test report form, your official score report. GT, general training, the IELTS module focused on everyday/workplace English. Coherence and cohesion, how logically ideas connect and flow, a key writing/speaking criterion. Lexical resource, range and accuracy of vocabulary, a key criterion. Task achievement, writing task 1/task response, writing task 2, how well you fulfill the specific requirements. Fluency and pronunciation, speaking key speaking criteria. Band descriptor, the official criteria used to score each section. EOR, inquired on results, the remarking process. Why it's essential: ensures you understand feedback, scoring analyses, and test instructions clearly, allowing you to focus on improvement, not terminology. 2B sample answers. Purpose: provides concrete examples of what different band scores actually look/sound like. Types and importance: Band 5 versus Band 8 essays, writing task 1 and 2, crucial for understanding the qualitative difference between a mid-level and a high-level score. Highlights improvements in task response, coherence, vocabulary, and grammar. Allows you to benchmark your own writing. Speaking transcripts, likely band 5, 7, 8/9 shows the flow, vocabulary, grammar, and coherence expected at different levels. Helps understand how fluency, pronunciation, and development are assessed in real speech. Invaluable for self-practice or mock interviews. Why it's essential, moves beyond abstract band descriptors. Seeing real examples makes the scoring criteria tangible and provides achievable models to learn from. 3C Topic Bank's purpose, provides extensive practice material targeting the unpredictable nature of IELTS topics. Components and importance, 100+ speaking Part 1 questions, covers common introductory topics, hometown, work/study, hobbies, family, daily life. Essential for building fluency and comfort with quick, personal responses. 50 common writing task 2 themes, groups frequent essay topics, e.g., environment, technology, education, health, society, crime, government spending, globalization, work. Enables focused brainstorming, vocabulary building, and argument development for core areas. Why it's essential, reduces anxiety by exposing you to the breadth of potential topics. Allows structured practice, helping you develop relevant ideas and vocabulary before test day. 4D Resources Purpose, guides you towards high-quality, reliable study aids beyond the book. Components and importance, official IELTS practice materials, the most critical resource. Authentic tests published by the IELTS Partners, IDP, British Council, Cambridge English. Essential for experiencing the real test format, timing, and difficulty level. Apps for vocabulary and listening practice, recommends reputable apps, e.g., Quizlet for flashcards, BBC Learning English/TED Talks/specific IELTS apps for listening, Anki for spaced repetition. Offers flexible, mobile-friendly ways to build core skills daily. Why it's essential, curates trustworthy resources, saving you time and effort searching. Ensures practice materials are accurate and effective. Official materials are non-negotiable for realistic preparation. Why these appendices are indispensable, centralized reference, saves time. Everything you need to look up is in one place, terms, topics, samples. Deepens understanding, the glossary and sample answers make abstract concepts, band scores, criteria, concrete. Provides ammunition, topic banks give you the raw material, questions, themes, for endless practice. Guides further study, the resources appendix points you towards the best next steps for effective practice. Builds confidence, familiarity with terms, exposure to samples, and practice with common topics significantly reduce test day uncertainty. Complements chapters, works hand in hand with the strategies and practice tests in the main chapters. How to use the appendices effectively, 1 glossary, refer to it constantly while reading the book or reviewing feedback. Bookmark it. 2 sample answers, writing, before writing an essay, analyze a Band 8 sample on a similar theme. After writing, compare your essay to both Band 5 and Band 8 samples using the band descriptors. Speaking, read transcripts aloud, focusing on fluency and pronunciation. Record yourself answering the same questions and compare. 3 topic banks, speaking part 1, practice answering 5 to 10 questions daily under timed conditions, 15 to 30 seconds prep, 1 to 2 minutes speaking. Writing task 2, brainstorm ideas and vocabulary for 1 to 2 themes per week. Practice planning essays, outlining thesis, main points, for diverse themes. 4 resources, prioritize official materials, schedule full, timed practice tests regularly. Integrate apps, use vocabulary apps daily for short bursts. Use listening apps during commutes or downtime. In summary, the appendices transform the book from a passive guide into an active toolkit. They provide the definitions, models, practice prompts, and resource guidance necessary for targeted, efficient, and confident IELTS preparation. Don't skip them.